What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another video here on the YouTube channel. And as you can see, this is also right now recorded live on Twitch, so next time you should better be joining us live on the Twitch streets. But that is going to be, I don't know whether you can believe it, but the first time ever that I'm going to do a prediction of the Forbidden and Limited list. I usually stay away from it, but this time, with now the announcement of Infinite Forbidden and the cards that we're going to get, I thought, hey, let's make a thought experiment. Let's think about how we can address this format when we are getting all the good Fiendsmith cards, and also, of course, the Link 2 Moon that is now confirmed. So everyone, make sure to leave a subscription on the channel, leave a like as well, and definitely make sure to leave a comment underneath telling me what you are thinking about this list and maybe a couple of things you would have done yourself. But now, let's get into it. Of course, starting off with the Forbidden section. First card has been mentioned plenty in the last couple of weeks. I'm also agreeing on that. I think Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, will have to go to the Forbidden section. Will have to go to 0. We have already seen with the last TCG list that Konami was addressing Omni-Negate cards or negation monsters that are easily available for any kind of deck, generically being summoned. Appaloosa is a generic Link 4 monster. Every deck has access to it, so it should be no surprise to also for it to be here on my prediction list. Appaloosa, I think if it doesn't go to 0, with all the Fiendsmith cards now available as well, it's just going to be everywhere, literally in every deck you could imagine. And therefore, I think for a card that is so widely available, it's just too strong, it's just too powerful. Therefore, I think it would be a good thing to just put that Appaloosa to sleep, put that Appaloosa to 0. Hopefully that's going to happen. Now when we already are talking about Link 4s, another Link 4 that is not as old as Appaloosa, but that had very big recent waves, is going to be Zilant. Yes, Zilant is a very, very hot topic, highly discussed card in the format right now, because Zilant is also kind of a generic Link 4, but it's even more so weird because you can just use a Link 4 to put it on top of it. And right now, of course, I would say every second duel being played and won by a Snake Eye player is being won by summoning out the Zilant and going for the Zilant, Raging Phoenix, Promethean Princess OTK. And I think that's just too much. I think it's just too easy with that card. This card just ends games too quickly that usually would go on for a little longer because going for game wouldn't be that easy. So this card just makes it too easy. Even if we address Snake Eye further, even if we don't make Snake Eye that powerful anymore with the upcoming list, I think there's going to be another deck shortly going to find a way to abuse the Zilant. It's too easy to summon, too generic, just a Link 4 for it. I don't think it's going to be healthy long term, so I think Zilant also has to go. Next up on the list, a card that is literally in almost any side deck and recently has even been found in a lot of main decks as well. The skill has been drained plenty of times. Skill Drain is a card that I want to see go to the Forbidden section. I want to say goodbye to Skill Drain. It has been here since Dark Crisis, but I think now is time to say goodbye. We have seen that they were going after cards like Summon Limit, a card that was super relevant in the last format, that also had like the same ability to just completely lock your opponent out from playing. Skill Drain is essentially doing the exact same now. People just basically replace Summon Limit with Skill Drain, and honestly, Skill Drain might have even been the better card since the beginning, and I think Skill Drain will not be missed. I think this card might also go to 1, like Anti-Spell, for example, did, but I think with this card even being played in main decks nowadays, it just... We just don't really want to deal with it anymore. It makes playing so much tougher because nowadays, even against decks like Snake Eye, just have to side in Lightning Storm, for example. Lightning Storm against the monster part of Snake Eye is super mediocre because just all the fire monsters are going to come back and yada yada yada. But you have to side in Lightning Storm because for the chance that they have found Skill Drain in their opening hand, you gotta have that Lightning Storm to clear it. And therefore, it just creates a little bit of a weird environment, and I think Skill Drain definitely should be put into 0. That is my personal take, and it's not a very unique take, as a lot of people also agree on that. And then there's 2 more cards that I also want to put to the Forbidden section. I don't know whether we're going to get so many Forbidden cards, but I'm hoping for it because the last 2 may even be the most important ones because they are the most annoying ones in my opinion. First of all, I think Calamity. Whoever said the sentence, Calamity turn skipping is cool. I have never met a person saying that. Not really fun for the game. It's not really enjoyable when your opponent is just performing a cool little combo. And nowadays, it's so easily available. With Centurion Auxilia, like every synchro deck can just go into the Centurion cards as well and can just, even though they would have unique and cool ways to just synchro summon a couple of cool synchro monsters, but it's more efficient and it's better to just try to lock your opponent out of playing completely, and therefore they just go for the Calamity all the time. And I think we should put a rest to that. We should put a stop to that. Calamity has done enough. It's not really fun as a card in the format in general, even though it's not in one of the main meta decks right now. It's not the #1 fear in the format, but still not a great card overall for the health of the game. It doesn't really have any necessarily healthy purpose, so I think Calamity, in my opinion, also would be allowed to go. And then next on the list, the card is actually in one of the main meta decks. It is in the deck that qualified for the World Championship over in Oceania this weekend, with it coming second place over there. It came second place as well in the UK Nationals. And I'm talking about Branded. I think, in my personal opinion, even though I have never really played the deck, but I've casted it plenty, I think the deck is beautiful. I think the deck itself is just so strong in its engine. It's so versatile. You can do so many things. You just have to be such a great player to figure out the ceiling of Branded. And like, it's a really, really beautiful procedure to see someone improving with a Branded deck. But that improving process is majorly limited by people just going, okay, I could play that really cool and long combo, have a cool setup, have a cool follow-up, have like all those kind of layered interruptions, but I could also just go for the Gimmick Puppet lock with LB on the Sanctifier, and that makes it so much easier. I'm winning more likely with it, so why would I do all the extra steps if I can just go for LB on the Sanctifier Dragon into the Gimmick Puppet lock? I don't think Gimmick Puppet should be the card on the list because Albion is the one enabling it, and if we just put Gimmick Puppet on there, they're going for other stuff. But yeah, please, Albion the Sanctifier, we're done, okay? Goodbye. We don't need you anymore. Let's see what that's going to be on the Forbidden section. That was all the Forbidden cards that I have on my list here. Moving on to the Limited section. And I think we now have to start really addressing the Snake Eye deck that, of course, is the strongest deck in the format. We already kind of addressed it with Zilantis to 0, also with Appaloosa to 0. Those cards are absolute standard powerhouses in any kind of Snake Eye deck, but also I want to go after the engine as well. And going after the engine here in that case, for me personally, I think I'm trying to put myself into the position of Konami, into the position of the people making the list, and I think, like, I'm saying what I think they would do, and I think 1-1 is a pretty likely thing. It just is a pretty big consistency hit to the Snake Eye engine, so I can see that. And together with the next card, Snake Eye Ash also going to 1, I think the deck would just be way less powerful. Just 1-1, Snake Eye Ash to 1. I know the deck is still playable with that. I know it could still be dangerous. I don't know whether it would completely solve the Snake Eye issue, but I think it would definitely be a good way to hit the deck. And I think we would definitely have some more diversity if we go to 1 with both of these cards. So we go after these 2 cards, and the next one, maybe the most interesting take of this entire prediction. Hear me out, YouTube. You can roast me for this in the comments, but I'm telling you, Spiral Master Plan can come back. Not a problem. Yes, Spiral would be way, way better and way more playable, to be honest, but I don't think it could even be keeping up with all the crazy meta decks right now. Like, I would at least like to try it out. I'm not saying it is going to be perfect. I'm not like, but honestly, you have to ask yourself the question. If we bring back Master Plan to 1, if we make Spiral a really viable deck again, is it going to completely dominate the format? And I think the answer to that is very, very, very clearly no. And therefore, I think bringing back Master Plan and trying out whether Spiral is just another one of these decks, another one of these cards that everyone is afraid of, but in the end do nothing, I think would actually be reasonable. Because I think it's similar to Kirin, for example. Everyone for years has been saying, no, Kirin is too strong, don't bring back Kirin, why would you bring back Kirin? Guess what? Kirin did nothing. It came back in the TCG, literally did absolutely nothing, okay? Therefore, I think Master Plan can come back. It would be interesting to see whether it is going to really change the format or whether it's just going to be another Kirin. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Next card on the list, I think more likely to happen. Also already like that in the OCG and in Master Duel. And that is Pot of Prosperity. I think Pot of Prosperity originally was a cool designed card for control decks, for controlled strategies. And in the beginning, Eldritch decks were playing it, and maybe like some other cool control strategies like Vanquish Soul or something like that. But over time, Pot of Prosperity has just been included into way too many decks. It's just the main consistency tool for the majority of decks nowadays. For example, even Snake Eye, where in the beginning no one was running Pot of Prosperity, at the later stages of the format, for example, in the version of Lorenzo Muselli that he was winning and playing the Italian nationals with, even in Snake Eye, they were then running Pot of Prosperity because the card is just so great. It gets even better post-siding when you can also grab side deck cards with it on top of it. I think this card is just too good overall, too widely used overall. I think the original idea behind the card was great, being a card in control decks that had a real nice purpose. But the downside of banishing 6 cards from extra deck is just not big enough, and therefore I think it provides you too much value. Therefore, I think we're going to follow the OCG. We're going to follow the process of putting Pot of Prosperity to 1. Next up on the list. This one is quite controversial and quite interesting as well, because some people say this card keeps the meta game in check, keeps some anti-meta strategies in the format, and some people just can't stand the card anymore. And I think the voices of the people that don't like the cards are going to win. We are going to see Dimension Shifter going to 1. It going to 1 would be really, really weird, but I think it's actually fine, because when it goes to 1, it's not going to have that much of an impact. You're not going to get shifted that much anymore. It's just a random card. I don't think it really matters whether you put it to 1 or to 0. It's kind of the same, so you can as well just put it to 1. Therefore, I think Dimension Shifter is going to come down to 1, and I think that's a reasonable hit to, or a reasonable approach to the card. I know Fluandereeze, Ritual Beast, and Kashtira players are going to be in shambles, but you will be fine, okay? Next up on the list. That's another controversial one, because it's another one that I'm trying to bring back, actually. You also can let me know in the comments what you think would be good cards to come back from the Forbidden section, because that section right now is quite packed, quite filled. And it is a card that was absolutely format defining, Yu-Gi-Oh defining. It revolutionized the way of thinking in Yu-Gi-Oh on how you approach your back row, on how many cards you're setting to your back row. And that card that I'm talking about is going to be Heavy Storm. I think Heavy Storm is going to be fine to come back. I don't see a real issue with the card anymore. We have Lightning Storm at 2, we have Harpy's Feather Duster, which is even the buffed version of the card. I think actually Heavy Storm would be fine in the format right now. Like, I was thinking about either Heavy Storm or Red Reboot. Funnily enough, both of them are legal in the OCG. So I think we are going to follow a little on that in the TCG by bringing back Heavy Storm. It's arguable at the moment whether Heavy Storm even is worse than Harpy's Feather Storm, because of course with Heavy Storm you can like interact with your cards as well. You can trigger your own cards. Telemans, for example, could set a Salik and then get to play by activating Heavy Storm going first and stuff like that. I think overall though, Heavy Storm is a card that can come back, that should come back. Let's see whether it is actually going to happen. And then next up is going to be another card going from Unlimited to 1, and that is a card that, very similar to Pot of Prosperity, is seeing major play in any kind of deck. It's not a consistency card though. It's a card that is just also powerful, and that is, because of its pure strength, able to be tacked into almost any deck in the format. And I'm talking about good old Kashtira Fenre. Kashtira Fenre, I think it's not an unhealthy card in general. I think I like what Kashtira Fenre is providing. I like the effect of Kashtira Fenre. I think it's a really powerful card, and it's not doing anything crazily unfair, but the pure existence of it being everywhere, the pure fact that everyone right now is just starting out to build their deck by putting 3 copies of Kashtira Fenre into their main deck, is also not healthy for the game overall, because it just dedicates the deck building process too much. Like, you're thinking about, I have 6 spots left for my non-engine spots. I don't really want to play 6 hand traps, because just playing 6 hand traps doesn't really matter. So hey, I'm throwing in 3 talents, 3 Kashtira Fenre. I think Fenre overall is just, I don't know, it's a good designed card, but it's just maybe too good overall, and therefore I think it's also deserved to go to 1. Also, of course, that's kind of influenced by the OCG, which also already took that step. Therefore, I think Fenrir is fine when it's not able to replace itself anymore, because you can search yourself another card, which then for the other engine, for the main engine of your deck, you can, for example, discard. For example, Pearly starts out by summoning Fenrir, then they search another copy and they can discard one of the Fenrirs, and so many other decks can also just discard the Fenrir, can make use out of the card that they have just searched. Therefore, overall, I think Fenrir is also going to go to 1. And actually, everyone, that is going to be the end of the prediction, because I don't think we're going to put any cards to 2. I don't think semi-limited is a section that is going to be getting any more cards anytime soon, because I think we're just trying to move away from that section altogether for the Forbidden and Limited lists. And then Unlimited, thought about it long and hard, couldn't find anything. I don't really think I want to put anything to 3 right now. Let me know in the comments what you think, what we could put to 3 right now, which wouldn't be a problem. Right now, Twitch chat. Max C to 3? No. Please no, please no. Chaos Space? No. Look. There's already very bad ideas happening right now in chat. So please, let's just not put anything to 3, okay? We just leave it as it is. We also leave this video as it is. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. As I said multiple times, make sure to leave a like to this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your opinion on the list, and also some suggestions that you yourself have in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Keep on enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! And see you soon for more content.